The FDA says that Taylor Farms continues to be the subject of its investigation into the cyclospora outbreak, despite the false positive test result that we are now hearing about. Joining us right now is former FDA Commissioner Dr. Scott Gottlieb. He is also a Pfizer and Illumina board member and a CNBC contributor. And Scott, thanks for being here this morning.
Thanks a lot.
So I was feeling pretty good and confident about things when I thought this was definitely a case of Taylor Farms and, the lettuce that was going to Taco Bell. I thought maybe I can start eating salads again. Now we hear that this was a false positive. What does that tell us?
Look, I think you can start eating salads again. I think the false positive, I think, is a red herring. The strength of the decision that the FDA made in isolating this particular farm was based on the epidemiological evidence, and it was very strong. I think it was aided by the work that Michigan did to trace back these cases and also the strong supply chain management that Taco Bell had. But the FDA was primarily relying on that epidemiological evidence, tracing the cases back to this particular source. You can question why they included that test result anyway in the statement that they put out. I don't think it was important to the strength of the evidence that they had. The fact that it was a false positive, I think, doesn't change the balance of the equation.
This is really hard to test for. You basically have to have human feces to go back and figure it out.
Yeah, it's not just hard to test for. So the only human sample is stool. It's also hard to test for in the field. There's not a lot of good, reliable tests, and I'm not surprised that they had a false positive hit. Also, the tests that doctors use to screen patients typically won't pick it up. You have to specially order a test to look for cyclospora. So it's a difficult pathogen. They don't have what we call whole genome sequencing. So if this was Salmonella or E. coli, you can actually sequence the particular strains and get a molecular fingerprint to be able to trace it back to the particular source. You can match the strain you found in patients to the strain you found on the farm. You can't really do that here with cyclospora, so it's harder to use testing alone as a way to isolate this. I think they're really relying on the epi.
Yeah, the number, the statistic that got me is that only 4% of the public eats at Taco Bell, but 60% of the people who got this explosive diarrhea reported having eaten there.
Right, and the Michigan public health officials found that 90% of people who had this infection, this parasite, reported having lettuce in the prior 2 weeks. So that's very strong epidemiological evidence. This is hard to look for because people don't remember if they had lettuce on a hamburger. It's also confounded by the fact that you find cyclospora in things like cilantro and basil. And there's background infection going on here. I think the cluster of infections that we saw in Michigan in the Great Lakes region, that seems to be related to this particular farm. FDA is now testing on that farm. They're testing product coming into the market. So I would have confidence about what's coming into the market right now. The offending supply probably was in the supply chain 3-4 weeks ago. That doesn't mean that there isn't some ongoing contamination. They need to go onto that farm and figure out how this got into the water supply there, which is likely the conduit. But I think FDA has been working on that based on what I've been told from the agency. Remember, this is spread. The only known reservoir for this is humans. And so this is from human fecal matter that got into probably the water supply, maybe from flooding, maybe from contaminated irrigation, and was used to irrigate those crops.
I guess when you look at it from the consumer perspective, it feels like you're better off staying inside to avoid any of the smoke that's been coming from the wildfires and eat chocolate instead of salad for all of these things. You're saying it's all clear at this point?
Well, I wouldn't say it's all clear, and you're going to see cyclospora infections in the summer anyway.
How often do we usually see this? It's gotten more headlines
This
than
is
ever.
probably the biggest cluster that I've ever seen sort of in modern times. So there definitely is a single source for a lot of these infections in the Great Lakes region. But you see this in the summertime. Look, if consumers want to mitigate risk, there's things you can do. You can buy a whole head of lettuce rather than bagged lettuce, because with bagged lettuce, if you have one contaminated head of lettuce, it might get in dozens of different bags of lettuce. And so you can also buy locally. There's been no documented cases of cyclospora from locally sourced lettuce inside the United States. So people can go to a local grower and buy it. Right now, for the mass-produced lettuce, the only regions that are harvesting typically are Mexico. There's a little bit in Arizona. California isn't harvesting right now. So any bagged lettuce that you buy is probably coming from Mexico right now.
The Taylor Farms supplies Taco Bell. Does it supply lots of other places, too?
Yeah, that bagged lettuce got into a lot of retail establishments. This was more than just Taco Bell. The reason why Taco Bell isolated it because they have very good supply chain management. We saw this with McDonald's. We also saw with Cracker Barrel, where when they had an outbreak associated with those restaurants, they were able to isolate very quickly. When I was at FDA, Cracker Barrel had an outbreak of salmonella related to eggs that was served in the locations in the south, I think the southeast, if I remember correctly. They were literally able to isolate it back to a particular hen house where those eggs came from. So that's how good the supply chain management is with these big these big food chains. So Taco Bell did a good job here, and I think they acted very proactively.
There have been some people who have said the FDA, the CDC, has had funding cuts, and that's why this got so bad. Do you think that's the case?
Yeah, look, I think FDA acted with speed here in terms of their trace back. So I don't think there was any lapse in what FDA did. Okay. CDC appears to act slowly here. Michigan really did a lot of the initial epidemiological work that traced this to a common food source, and then FDA picked up from there and found the particular farmer this was coming from. Whether or not there have been cuts, there have been people in some of these groups who've been let go from DOJ. There was also a group on food safety that was let go at USDA. Whether or not that translated into any of this, I think it's really premature to draw that conclusion, and very hard. Maybe yes, maybe no, and maybe we'll never know. So I think it'd be irresponsible to say that the budget cuts flowed into some of this. CDC has always been challenged in these things, and the group that does these parasitic infections is different than the foodborne illness group. And I always found that the people who worked on foodborne illness were stronger than this parasitic group at CDC, just by normal course, irrespective of any budget cuts.
You've pointed out that Taco Bell has a really great supply chain control to have figured this stuff out and gotten it. We were just saying that Taco Bell's traffic was down 19% on Friday from what it typically would be in a summer Friday. Sweetgreen, their shares were down like 25% as people were avoiding some of those places. Would you eat at a Taco Bell? Would you eat at a Sweetgreen at this point? Yeah,
look, I would have no concerns about eating lettuce inside a restaurant chain. FDA is on that farm right now. They're inspecting the farm. They're also inspecting the supplies coming into the U.S. Taylor, I don't think, is shipping a lot right now. I think it's being sourced elsewhere. The big chains will be on the ball here. They'll be very vigilant.
That's the best place for it, you think, at this point?
Right now, it's a lot safer to eat lettuce right now than it was 4 weeks ago, because now they're sourcing from different suppliers. They're looking at local suppliers where they can get it. So I think they're on top of it. So I think that people have sort of responded appropriately. Certainly FDA has in this instance.
And lettuce doesn't have a very long shelf life.
Doesn't have a long shelf life. So whatever was, unless there's an ongoing contamination in that farm, which there may be, whatever was contaminated, it could have been a transient contamination from flooding onto the fields. Whatever happened 3 or 4 weeks ago. And the new product coming into the market right now is being tested. Again, if you're a consumer who's worried about it, you can do things in your own life, buy a whole head of lettuce, cut it up, things like that. I wouldn't be too concerned in a prospective basis going forward. But if you want to be vigilant, if you're someone who's immunocompromised, at more risk, there's things you can do.
Dr. Gottlieb, thank you.
Thanks a lot.
4%. Did you check that math?
It says only 4% of the public eats at Taco Bell, but 60% of the patients
I got that from FDA. So
I think they mean eat at the restaurant. How many people take it out and then eat somewhere? 40%.
Speak for yourself.
He is.
I know.
4%'s a lot.
I told you that the Kernan family is responsible for the earnings miss or whatever happened.
On Taco Bell. Or Domino's. Yeah, either McDonald's. I'm trying to think of a fast food I don't like, and I don't think I haven't come across one. Thank you.
Doctor, thank you.